Supporters in Kenosha, Wisconsin are calling on authorities to free Chrystul Kizer, an accused killer. They say Kizer is a victim of human trafficking. They want the district attorney to drop murder charges against her. Kizer says she was defending herself when she shot and killed 34-year-old Randall Volar and set his house on fire in June of 2018. Kizer was just 17 years old at the time. Randy Volar was charged with child sex abuse and was out on bail at the time of his death. Kizer's mother says the prosecutor knew about Volar's alleged activities, but did nothing to stop him.
He had evidence. The fact that it took for her to do something because she got tired of it. And he trying to like sweep the whole problem under the rug, but it's so much more bigger than just her.
But District Attorney Michael Gravely says Kizer killed Volar because she wanted to steal his car and then bragged about the killing on social media.
Where she is essentially bragging on a Facebook Live sort of telecast. She has a gun in her hand, she's waving that gun in her hand, and she is discussing how if somebody makes her mad, she'll shoot them like she shot someone previously, and there are people there trying to quiet her down.
Kizer's case has gained national attention, with celebrities like Alyssa Milano and Patricia Arquette calling for her release. Kizer's case is reminiscent of the Cyntoia Brown case in Tennessee, which also garnered a lot of attention. Brown was a victim of child sex trafficking. She was tried, convicted, and sentenced to life in prison for murdering a man in 2004. He allegedly bought her for sex when she was 16 years old.
I've been able to help people, which is amazing. Young people, young kids, they listen. And I know it's purely an act of mercy that you've even given me a hearing.
Brown was granted clemency by then Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam after serving 15 years. She was released in August of 2019. Kizer faces life in prison if she's convicted of murder and arson.
My only thing is I want my child home, and it's messed up how everything happened.
All right, so what exactly is her defense, and how do you get that defense in front of the jury? Let's bring in an expert. Cameron Weitzer joins us, criminal defense attorney, civil attorney joining us. Cameron, how does the jury get the whole story? Will they get the whole story here? Because, sometimes the rules of evidence get in the way, and you have to be very specific about what you're alleging in a defense here.
I think that's the big question. The big question is, what do they get in, and how do they get it in, and to prove what? When you're looking at a case like this Chrystul Kizer case, where she is, there's no doubt, the victim of sex trafficking and being trafficked by the alleged victim here, do they get in all this evidence that relates to her sex trafficking? And that ultimately is going to make or break this case.
So what's the argument to the jury then? Is it an argument that it's some form of self-defense, or is it more of, hey, look at what this guy was doing, and this is a case of perhaps jury nullification, where the jury looks at everything and says, well, all right, we're just going to, we're going to let her go because of everything that she went through? Well,
I think that this is maybe a more formalized jury nullification argument. So in Wisconsin, a individual that's sex trafficked has the ability to mount an affirmative defense and ultimately argue that because they were the victim of sex trafficking, the crimes that were the result of the sex trafficking, that the crimes that they committed were justified. And that ultimately is why this case is sort of held up right now.
So how the piece of evidence it seems prosecutors are relying a lot upon is this Facebook video, this Facebook Live video, where she's waving a gun, making some statements, taking his car. How much of a problem is that, or will that be for her? Because prosecutors are saying, well, this is what this is really about.
I think it's a bad fact. I don't think there's any way around that, and the defense is going to have to own that. But the prosecution has some other bad facts. This guy was a child pornographer and he was videotaping his victims.
Does that come in?
He's
Does that
not a
come
good
in?
guy. I think it has to come in. I think it has to come in order for the defense to put on their affirmative defense. And I think that the jury's going to know about this stuff.
Does Chrystul have to take the stand?
No. I don't think she does.
Really?
No. And I don't think she should be made to. I think that there's enough evidence, and the state's already gone on record here and admitted, hey, this victim was a sex trafficker. Now they sort of double backed on it and then went back and forth and said, oh, well, maybe she was this is just a prostitute John scenario. But it certainly is more than that. And I think there's going to be evidence that it's more than that. And I don't necessarily think that Chrystul's going to have to get on the stand and tell the jury that, but the defense is going to have to put her story of abuse out there for the jury to consider.
Cameron Weitzner, I'm so glad you were able to join us tonight. Please come back. Really enjoyed your expertise and insight into this case.
I'll be back. Thank you.
All right, folks. This one's on our docket. We got a status hearing January 13th, second week of 2021. No trial date yet, but I have a pretty strong feeling this one will happen in 2021, which is going to be a year full of incredible trials here on Court TV.